set, ready?
Yep.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome once again here on the Regional Radio Sports Network, and my name is Paul Condry. I'm the president and founder of Regional Radio Sports, alongside athletic director and men's basketball coach at Indiana University South Bend, Scott Cooper. Welcome to the Scott Cooper Show. We're glad you've been hop along with us here today on Regional Radio Sports. Coop, and it's an exciting time of the year for you guys because you guys are getting in the back half of the Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference men's basketball as well as women's basketball seasons, respectively. Both teams off to tremendous first halves of the season. We got a couple guys we'll be talking with here today. But first of all, women's team, amazing start for Coach Bruce and his gals. They are just on fire.
Yeah, undefeated, playing really well, healthy, which is half the battle, I think, in anybody's case. But the real I think impressive part for them is regardless of who the opponent has been, is they've brought their best effort every single night and have a real shot to finish the season undefeated if they can continue to do those things.
When you look at that, the opportunity to go through a whole league schedule, I don't care what league you're playing in, to be able to go through and the potential to do that, boy, I tell you what, that is an amazing feat if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, and it's hard to get 18 to 22-year-olds to focus on anything for that long, but to maintain that and sustain that again when you're getting everybody's best shot every night is even harder. And they've done an outstanding job. And Coach Bruce does a nice job of having them prepared to play every night. And like I said, they've been a lot of fun to watch.
I don't think it's anything to do with 18 to 22-year-olds because I can tell you at 67, I still have a hard time with those kind of things.
Well, Nick's roughly in the same age bracket, so it's not necessarily true for every team either. That's like I said, it's a really mature group. It's a really competitive group, and like I said, I think anybody who hasn't had a chance to come out and see them play really should.
What's the first half grade for your basketball team when you look at the big picture on where you guys are at from execution standpoint, the way you've competed at the compete level? Because I know for you, competition level, guys be able to compete, be able to focus and do the things that you want them to do. Athletically, you're a pretty good basketball team. You know that when you go on the floor every night. But what do you think about the intangibles?
I think we've done a good job of weathering storms. We've had some injury issues here and there, and for the most part, we handled those pretty well. We had some bumps along the way where we haven't played well offensively, but guys have come back ready to work the next day, and kind of fought through that. And even the other night against Holy Cross, we started off the game really well. They came back, and we were struggling offensively. Nobody lost their cool. We took us a little bit to find some lineups that worked, and once we did, everybody was invested in it. And I think overall that's been who we are. And I think the one big thing with us is that from the get-go, really, we've been a very good defensive team and haven't had a whole lot of lapses in it. And that's a hard thing to do in any case, but especially when you've got as many new players as we added to the roster this year. These guys have been here for a year or 2 years in Deshon's case, so they kind of understand that. But a lot of our new guys don't necessarily, and they bought into that pretty quickly. And we're performing at a really high level at that end of the floor. And if we can get that offense a little bit more consistent, I think we're in a really good place.
I think the stats kind of bear itself out. Your opponents are only shooting 41%. I know that you'll take that. They're doing a good job of closing out. Your opponents are at about 33% from three-point range. So just numerically speaking, as I look at it from my perspective as a sportscaster, those are pretty good numbers.
Yeah, and like I said, and we've continued to get better, and we've done it in different ways. We've had to play, very small some games. We've had to play very big some games. We've played man some games. We played zone some games, and these guys have done a really good job of adjusting. And I think in all my time here, we've had some really good defensive teams, but this one may be the most malleable and the most able to adapt, and that's a big thing if we can get back to the national level, because you're going to see different types of teams every single night. You're not going to have the same type of time to prepare and stuff like that. So be able to do that stuff on the fly and adjust in a short period of time has been a lot of fun for me to coach.
Flyover of the CCAC here at the midway point as we get ready to hit the back stretch. Certainly, if you look at the leagues, Roosevelt seems to be right now the team that everybody's kind of shooting for. I don't know if that I would use the word standard bearer in this case, but they're certainly right now in first place. You guys are in second. St. Ambrose, Olivet Naz, St. Xavier, IU Northwest, Judson, Governor State, St. Francis, Holy Cross, and then got a couple teams at the bottom there. But is the league where you thought it would be right now?
I had no expectations coming in this year. Last year was a really senior-heavy league, and especially at the top of the league there with the top 4 or 5 teams were all pretty good. But everybody had kind of those COVID holdovers, and so we all kind of lost them at the same time. And you never, even with our own squad, we had a lot of guys back, but at the same time we're plugging in 3 new pieces into our rotation, and you never know what kind of effect that's going to have. And some teams have had it a lot more, and you saw it like with St. X. I think the other night they've got only 1 starter returning, and we're playing at a really high level. They lose that 1 starter for a game, and all of a sudden they get beat really good by Judson. And then you've got teams like Holy Cross that are kind of plugging in a bunch of new pieces, and they go play Roosevelt, who's playing at a high level, and had a chance to win the game there at home the other night. So I think any given night you got to be ready to play, because anybody in this league can beat anybody this year, and that's a lot of fun.
I'm excited about the 2 guys you brought here today with us. 2 guys who grew up in my neck of the woods in Northwest Indiana, as we call it, the region. Nick, of course, grew up in Chesterton, played for the Trojans, and Deshon over there is an Andrew guy. I tell you what, I didn't grow up too far from 5959 Broadway, so I understand the dynamics of where he grew up. Talk about their particular roles and what they've meant to your team thus far.
Well, first of all, I didn't realize that that's the reason they were called the 59ers. I thought there was something more to it than that, but that's good to know. But no, these guys have been great. Both of them played in smaller roles last year and had to step up into bigger roles this year. Nick, went from a guy who was just kind of filling in a little bit when guys were hurt to a guy who's starting for us, and we've been able to use him defensively in a whole lot of ways. I think he's like 3rd in the nation in block shots right now. Rebounding, I think, at our highest rate defensively, and we've been able to put him in a lot of stuff. And as the offensive game started to come along, he's helping us play really big by his ability to stretch the floor, and opens up some stuff from Barney, and then at the other end he can kind of play inside and let Barney play on the perimeter defensively, which is where a little more his strength is. And then Deshon's been our Swiss Army knife defensively. We've asked him to guard really big, bulky guys. We've asked him to guard guys who run off 1,000,000 screens. Matter of fact, the very first game we're playing against Lawrence Tech, where they got a guy who's just killing us early in the game there, and Deshon comes up to me and goes, "Hey, let me guard him. I got this." And the kid got 1 shot off, I think, the rest of the game. And offensively, he's starting to see his game come along too. When he came in, he was pretty much just a shooter, and now he's at a little bit of post-up game. He's starting to get to the rack a little bit more and make plays for other guys. And it's been fun to see these guys grow in their roles, and they're a big part of the reason why we're where we're at.
Well, Nick's really kind of a late bloomer. He's really kind of coming into his own body. Wouldn't that be the safe bet with you, Nick?
Yep.
When you think about where you were at, because you were not the most ballyhooed recruit coming out of high school, like some of the guys may be on your team, but you're a guy who was you kept growing and growing. It's very similar to what David Robinson did when he was playing at Navy. David Robinson went into the Navy at about 6'4" or so. Next thing you know, he's 6'10", and the next thing you know, he's tearing the world on. So you've kind of come into your body late. Has that helped or hurt?
I think it's done both. It's helped and hurt. It helped because I was able to put on some weight and be able to hang with some bigger boys like now in college, but it's also hurt because it takes a toll on the body too when you gain weight pretty quickly. So, but overall, I think it's been a big benefit.
He can stretch defenses because he has the ability, Coop, to take the ball on the perimeter and knock down shots on the outside too, which also gives you some flexibility to run some sets.
Yeah, and it makes us, like I said, it gives us some flexibility at the other end of the floor too, where we can, we can play a little bit bigger than most teams, and that's come to our advantage, including, this team we're getting ready to play here in Trinity Christian. Last time we played out, we played really big against them, and because we've got a guy like Deshon who can guard on the perimeter and Nick who can guard inside, and at the other end kind of flip those 2 guys around. We could stay a little bit bigger than maybe some other teams can, and that by itself has bothered some teams. And then again, just the flexibility we have with a lot of our wing guys that can defend different types of players, and like Deshon again here had to guard little quick guy here. Was it 2-3 games ago when we're playing Judson, and then last night he's chasing guys, or 2 nights ago he's chasing guys all over the place and screens from Holy Cross. I think having 2 guys like that really makes my life a lot easier as a coach. Like, oh, hey, we can try this, and we can kind of keep poking and prodding until we find something that works. Whereas even a group that we had as talented as we were last year, we didn't necessarily have that flexibility. And like I said, as a coach, anytime you have that, it makes your life 100 times easier.
Deshon, I know for you, growing up in Northwest Indiana, Andrew plays a really broad-based schedule, all the teams within your league, but you're playing a wide variety of athletes, wide variety of systems. So you're seeing a wide variety of things. So give us an idea. Were you prepared to see all types of athletes, all types of systems when you got here because of the schedule that the Niners play?
I would say for sure. Just off of my first 2 years of high school, my first year I was dressing varsity, and my sophomore year went to starting varsity, and then we won a state championship that year. So I was able to see like all different types of brands of basketball, how Indianapolis plays, how the region plays. It's two different things. It's just the basketball is played differently between a lot of the different people.
Exactly.
But it doesn't make one way better than the other. So just understanding that some person may be able to come off a screen and do something else than what somebody else is doesn't make them playing their way more efficient. It's just how basketball is played. So, I mean, I definitely get that when I'm coming to the college level, I understood off the jump that I'm not going to be like the best player here. I'm new to this. I have to do some learning to do. And just the senior group that I had off the bat already, they brought me in, they welcomed me, and I understood it immediately. So,
one of the things that people may or may not understand, Northwest Indiana, the way the game is officiated is a lot different than anywhere else in the state. And I know one of the big raps on the region for many, many years is the officials allow the kids to play. They allow them to do really kind of what you guys do in college. When you get down towards Lafayette, you get down in certain parts of the state, every foul is a ticky-tack little foul. So you have to be able to adjust. And so you get that same thing when you get into college, don't you? Is different guys, different crews calls the game. So did that give you a little jump start on how the games are officiated?
Yeah. I mean, I was paying attention to South Bend, IUSB basketball my whole senior year when I first got the call from Coop, the text message from Coop. And I mean, like, I understood, like, I seen that it was like the leagues that we play in, I know it's physical. But I mean, I was familiar with it. I'm from Northwest, but I'm from Chicago too. I was born in Chicago, so I even watched basketball from there, and that's physical basketball as well. So I was already ready for that off the jump too.
Coop, when you look at these guys' roles as they've developed their skill set, do you continue to see them maturing in other ways? Maybe I know that someone may come in as a freshman in college and say, hey, listen, this guy may be a little timid, maybe not really have a lot of confidence in himself. Next thing you know, by the time he's a senior, he's a leader, he's a captain, he's a guy that you can count on. When you recruit guys, and let's talk about these two region guys here, and Nick and Deshon, do you look at those kind of scenarios?
Oh, yeah. I think that's one of the first things we look at is, one, are they willing to play the role their team needs them to play? And both these guys come from very good programs. Deshon mentioned they won a state championship there his sophomore year at Andrean. He was a young guy, and they had a lot of young guys on that team.
They did.
And, he had to play, a kind of a lesser role to some guys, but was playing a lot in big situations. And then, Nick, they only won a sectional championship, no big deal.
Yeah.
But, again, same thing, played on a very good high school team, and at 6'10", 105 pounds or whatever he was in high school, he had to play, a different kind of role, and they were posting up their 6'4" guys just because of the way he was built and what his skill set was. But I think the big thing with both these guys that both their coaches mentioned when I talked to them is just how mature they were and how coachable they were, and I think that's really carried over into college. And I talked about it there earlier. It's how they've both grown into their roles since they've been here, and really stepped up. And we talked about this yesterday with Deshon, about he's one of our best communicators, and what a big thing that is after we lost a guy like Miles Tracy who played that role for us. And sometimes, even if he doesn't even get a shot off, that our offense runs a little bit better when he's in the game, but just because he keeps everybody on the same page. And Nick kind of has to play that role when he's in the game too. These guys aren't always in the game together, but they're two guys I can count on in that respect. And then defensively, they're both just really smart players. Like I can throw a lot of different things at them quickly without having to worry about whether or not they're going to be able to adapt. And they don't sit there and question the why. They sit there and execute. And one, probably because they're smart enough to question the why. But it's funny. I talk about how much they kind of are on the same page. We're getting ready for the game the other night, waiting for our women's game to finish up, and just cracking a very subtle joke about a guy who walked out with no shoes on, and it's like, all I said was, hey, anybody want to tell them these are the first two guys that got what I was trying to say, so even little things like that, knowing that you got two of your more vocal guys on the team are on the same page as you, even said little things like that gives you some confidence going in when you're in like a 2-minute situation and you're down 3 and you don't have any timeouts. These guys got to be able to talk through those things, and these are two guys trust a lot to do that.
Nick, I know that you get a chance to mix it up with a kid who's an All-American, and I'll tell you what, Barney's a guy that you have to deal with in practice. You got to deal with his ability. He can shoot So let's talk about matching up, playing against him in practice, because he's a tough guy to deal with, as well as some of the other guys. Michael Poole, who's been here forever now. And then, of course, we probably should reflect back on the last couple classes that Coop has had that have gone through that really kind of changed the fortunes of the program. What are the guys currently? Burnett, I mean, I guess I can ask you the same question. The impact of the guys on this team from the past as well as the guys on this team this year, how are they helping you grow in your skill set?
I think that we got plenty of really talented guys, and we got a lot of guys that could, go somewhere else and have a good role too, because that's just the type of talent that we got here. And being able to go against each other in practice every day is it's huge. It's allows us to get better while still being smart about it and going against each other.
What do you think?
Well, me being here for 3 years, I've been seeing the COVID guys, and then I'm seeing the people now. Just it's competitive all the time. Practice is competitive. We have drills. We win our drills, so every drill is competitive. We want to win the drill. But the learning experience is something else too. Me coming up behind Danielle, Micah that's still here, Sam, me knowing other people that I already knew, them bringing me in, I was just able to see a lot. Dylan Allen, the all-conference, all-state guy, all NAIA people. It just was a big thing. I think Coop did a good job of that. I understood immediately, like I said, that I'm probably not going to play my freshman year, but Sergio Diaz, forgot to mention him too. But those guys, they paved the way for me to start playing. I understood, I told you, I understood immediately. They did a big thing. Me, my freshman year, they were telling me all right, you might not be playing this year, but be ready for the next year's coming up. They gave me the blueprint, and I feel like I can do a good job following it with this year and next year. But like I said, practice is competitive. The guys that we have on our team, like Nick said, are very talented. But it's a diverse group. We all come from different backgrounds. Last year, we had a bunch of people from the same spots, but this year it's 3 people from here, 2 people from there, some Ohio guys. And it's not like we all questioned each other off the jump. We came together immediately. First week, we were having fun with each other. It wasn't why are we all here? It was very entertaining. This group is competitive, but we all get along.
Coop, I know you don't plan it out that way in regards to, hey, listen, I want to recruit this 3 here, 3 there, whatever you're at. I just know you want to get the best guys on the floor, right?
Yeah, but you always want to start local and work your way out, and sometimes the talent's there locally. And, was it last year, 2 years ago, we had a ton of region guys on the team because there was a pretty good pool of talent there for a while. Right now we've got 3 South Bend guys on the team, and 2 years ago we didn't have anybody within an hour of here. So I think that's just I think every coach would tell you that you always want to start in your own backyard, work your way out, but so much of it is just about finding guys who are the right fit. And I've talked about this before with our guys, but I've messed that up before. It's not just about talent; it's about having the right personalities, the right guys who are willing to buy in and who value the things that you value. And Deshon talked about it there. I think one of the fun things that we've had the last 5-6 years is how well these guys have connected with each other, and I think that's a big part of the reason that we've had the success we've had. Is I think you go roster by roster, there aren't a whole lot of teams that are untalented that we play against, but how many of them are willing to sacrifice minutes like these guys have, their first year or two, or shots or whatever it happens to be, in order for the bigger picture and the greater good and all that stuff. And then just off the court, willing to they go beat the snot out of each other in practice, and off the court willing to turn it off and be the right kind of people. And I think that's we've been very fortunate to get those here in the last 5-6 years.
You're listening and watching the Scott Cooper Show. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back here to the Scott Cooper Show. Paul Condry along with Coach Coop. Great that you can join us here from the Student Activity Center on the campus of Indiana University in South Bend, Indiana. Coop, what's special on the show tonight?
All right, well, we're going to start off with our rapid-fire question segment here. There are no wrong answers except for the ones that I don't like. And we're going to start off here. I know when we have other teams on, I had the women's basketball team on. I don't obviously know them as well as I know you guys. So these will be a little bit more specific to our our group and a little bit more intimate than maybe we would be with the other ones here. So starting off, first question, okay, and this is one I actively try to avoid conversations that you guys have in the locker room here, but every time I happen to walk in, there's some argument that going on about whatever topic, this versus that type of thing. I want to know, what is the absolute worst argument that we have had in the locker room in the last 2 years? Quick question.
Easily, it's the NBA GOAT conversation, because it never stops, and it's always like two sides just arguing and bickering, and there's no change in anybody's mind. It's Mike versus LeBron, and nobody agrees.
So nobody said Kareem yet, except for Deshon.
No.
That's
not Kareem.
All right, well, we're working on it. How about you? What worst argument?
I mean, I would probably agree that that's the worst one, but if I want to say a different one, it would easily be that Nick thinks he can stop me one-on-one in football. If we play on the line, he can stuff me in football. That's probably the worst argument.
And for those who weren't in on the conversation, elaborate on what exactly that hypothetical was.
All right, so me and Nick are both lined up one-on-one. He's the cornerback and I'm the receiver, and we have a quarterback. Nick thinks that he can stop me at the line because he says he's stronger than me. He can stop me at the line and I wouldn't be able to catch the ball. I believe that if we both lined up, I could easily move Nick's arm and I'm going long. I'm going for I can go for a 100-yard touchdown if Nick guards me. If we're being honest.
Are we talking about press coverage now?
Yes,
okay.
Press coverage.
All right.
Deshon has the prototypical wide receiver's body here, 6'3", 6'4", long, athletic kid, and Nick, I don't know that that's the mold for a defensive back. It's 6'10" and 220 pounds, but
We're up and coming.
Well, yeah. Okay. So, all right, next question. You guys both took different paths to get here. Deshon, you came here during COVID when I don't even know if I saw your face before you got on campus in person. And then Nick obviously took a little different route. Talk about what it was quickly that made you decide to, in as short as time as you can here, what made you decide to come to IU South Bend?
My decision was really based on, obviously, I coached for 1 year before I came here, and then that kind of reignited my love for basketball, and that I just made the decision that I wanted to play, and it's pretty easy finding you after Herb gave you a call. So it wasn't Olivia jumping over the bird poop as we walked you down to the river there. Okay. That helped.
All right. And Deshon, you came in here, and like I said, I don't even think I saw your face until you actually stepped foot on campus.
Yeah, COVID was kind of rough. Visits were rough for everybody. My decision was made. I mean, like I said, I knew people before I came here. So, like, I knew Sam, Rail, who doesn't go here anymore, Davion, who doesn't go anymore either. But I knew a bunch of guys that already went here. So they told me how the environment was, how competitive it was. So, I mean, off the bat, that was a plus. I already knew that what I was coming into, and I knew the position. I already knew that. Then the visit, everything, even with COVID, so nobody being around, everything just felt like home, but it wasn't home. So me being like an hour away was like a perfect like middle area for me. I didn't want to be too far, but I didn't want to be exactly at home. So I mean, and then you during the visit, Coach Irv, who wasn't here, and Marv was like a big thing about my visit too. Marv, our team manager, he was the one that did a bunch of my visit. He showed me around. He told me everything. So I mean, it just was a welcoming environment, and I liked it. So.
All right. So neither of your answers were my smiling face. Then, in fairness, you couldn't see it yet, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So next question. All right. Very important question. Chesterton, successful program. Andrean, successful program. Hypothetical matchup. Your sophomore year, what was that, 2018? 2019. Your senior year, which was roughly the same, 2012 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. All right. Who wins?
Cool. Before we get into this, his senior year was my state championship year.
Oh, was it? Okay.
And we played.
I thought Nick was older than that. So that's
we played them twice, and Nick can tell you what happened both the games.
That's fine.
What happened?
So no hypothetical then.
Yeah. Well, the first time we played them was in a holiday tournament, and that was coming off of a rough loss, and we're playing for 8th place or whatever. So I'm not saying we weren't trying, but so that one, scratch that one, and the next game we played them at their place. Didn't play our best game. I think if we played them in a best-of-7 series, like if we played 5 more games, we would take that series pretty handily.
So you're saying that Deshon's team was already up 2-0 in the series?
Yeah.
So you're just saying, okay, I just wanted to make sure we elaborated on that. All right. Last question before we get into our draft here. All right, and this is the most important question I'm going to ask you guys today. If you had one guy to make a left-handed jump shot or an offhand jump shot, because you are left-handed. We have a freakish number of left-handed people on our team this year. One guy to make an offhand jump shot on this team for all the money in the world. Who's taking it?
Myself. That's me.
This is one thing we agree on. I would say Nick. Nick actually has a decent left-hand jump shot. So
Okay, I saw you guys playing as we walked out the gym last night, and I wasn't quite sure which direction that went. All right, you guys are off the hot seat here. We'll take our thing next to the draft here. So Paul and I have been around for a while in this business. Paul's, a child of, his generation there in the 60s, 70s. I'm more of an 80s, 90s guy, and you guys, Nick, you might be the same age as me. Nobody's really sure yet. But but you guys are, 2000s or so like that. The restaurant chains have changed and all that. Paul has to travel a lot for his job. Obviously, I do quite a bit, and we're on the road quite a bit here traveling. All right, so what we're going to draft here, and we're going to start off with Paul because Paul has done the most traveling of any of us here, is we're going to work our way through. So we'll start with Paul. We'll go to Nick. I'll go. You'll get 2. Come back. Work our way back. Paul will get 2. All right. Is top road trip food spots. All right, and added bonus, you can say what you would get there. So, Paul, your number one go-to when you're on the road, where are we stopping?
Well, my favorite stop is Bob's Clam Hut in Kittery, Maine.
And Kittery, Maine. See, that's what you guys thought we were going to lead off with right there, didn't you? That's you guys don't even know about Kittery, Maine. So, all right. Nick, what do you got here?
I'm saying it's kind of like a basic fast food place, but Culver's, because whenever I'm on a road trip, I'm looking for a big double butter burger and some ice cream. So
and Culver's, if you're listening, we do accept NIL deals. For me, my all-time favorite of road trip, this is more of a team thing, is the Bob Evans. We haven't done Bob Evans a whole lot since you guys have been here, but that used to be a go-to early on in the IUSB men's basketball program, and then we had some issues with guys ordering a few too many desserts and moved on from that direction. So, all right, Deshon, we're going to give you 2 now. Get 2 road trip spots there.
My first one will be Chick-fil-A, which is, you can't lose Chick-fil-A.
All right.
Spicy chicken sandwich. If I tell you my whole order, you might think I'm crazy, but
no, that's okay. That's what we're here for, man.
Spicy chicken sandwich, the meal. So obviously it comes with a large fry, cookies and cream shake, and then you gotta get like a 12-piece nugget with it. So
now I want you to tell everybody what your body weight is after you've said that.
I'm 175 pounds.
175 pounds, and that's probably in the sweatsuit he's wearing right now. You can eat all that stuff and still only 175 pounds. Yeah.
So that's my first pick, and then second. See, the problem is Waffle House isn't everywhere, but that would be my second pick.
That's
Waffle
a good
House.
one.
All right.
Of course, I mean, you go to Waffle House. If you get a pancake from Waffle House, you're obviously disrespecting Waffle House. So I got Waffle House. I'm getting waffles from Waffle House and some bacon on the side, maybe with some grits. So
all right, there we go. See, I wouldn't have seen that coming. Next one for me, I'm an Ohio boy through and through. It's got to be Wendy's. I've been to the original Wendy's. I worked at a place that had a Wendy's, literally shared a parking lot with a Wendy's when I worked at Ohio Wesleyan. And anytime I get a chance to start speaking of spicy chicken sandwiches, if you haven't done Wendy's spicy chicken sandwiches, you're doing it wrong.
I thought you could be Skyline Chili.
That's a Cincinnati thing. I'm a Northeast guy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Southwest thing. That's a.
My next one will be Raising Cane's. Probably I'd never had Raising Cane's before last year when we went there as a team, and it was really good. I got the Caniac and best fast food chicken at least I've ever had.
So, and for those who don't know, that's actually where we celebrated our conference championship last year, because the other place we went to was, like a 2-hour wait or something like that. So.
In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out Burger, all right.
Outstanding place. Nothing close by. I think everything's west of the Mississippi, but tell you what, that's amazing. My first one was in San Diego, and it's still ingrained in my memory.
So In-N-Out versus what's the big debate? Is it Five Guys?
Five Guys.
Yeah. Okay.
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out you go to. All right. Last choice here, Paul. We're gonna snake it back to you. So we're giving you one more choice here.
I've had to pick one place. Thurston's Lobster Pound. In Maine.
We're noticing a seafood theme and a geographic theme. For those who don't know, that Paul takes a vacation every year to Maine and cuts himself off from the world for a couple of weeks. And probably the only time of the year he gets to do that.
That's right.
All right, a lot of pressure on this last choice. If you make the wrong choice, then this is all people are going to remember here, Nick.
I got another one.
Yep, the last one.
Okay. Ooh. I'm just gonna go basic. I'm gonna go McDonald's because McDonald's is quick and it's cheap and good. So
And what? All right. So we had this conversation during film the other day. French fries.
Yes, French fries are good.
You think they're top notch?
Yeah, they're the best French fry you can get anywhere.
And this is why Nick took like 5 years to get to college, because he still has opinions like that. All right. And then for me, the last choice would be and I'm not always a huge fan of this place, but there are times where it's just perfect for a pregame meal. Is Old Country Buffet, because literally everybody can get whatever they want, and then I don't have to worry about who's whining about what food and whatnot. And if you can't find something there, you're not going to find something anywhere. So, all right, all the pressure's on you, Deshon. This is the last choice. This is all anybody's going to remember when they watch this show.
Well, first, Nick, McDonald's is not the best fries. Let's be honest about that. Five Guys has the best fries, in my opinion.
It took us an extra 10 minutes to get to Holy Cross the other day because of this, just so anybody watching knows. We had a long talk, and maybe we need to have more discussion on this.
And then my last place isn't like game day perfect, but if I'm traveling, I would probably go Texas Roadhouse. The rolls, you can get full off the rolls alone. So, I could go Texas Roadhouse.
That's a wonderful choice, and this is why Deshon is probably the smartest person on our team. So that's all we got for our draft today. Hopefully, you got to know these guys a little bit better throughout the thing, and all Nick's terrible opinions, but obviously Deshon, genius level intellect over here. So that's all we got.
All right. Once again, we thank you for joining us here from the Student Activity Center on the campus of Indiana University South Bend. The Scott Cooper Show right here on Regional Radio Sports. I'm Paul Condry. God bless you all. Good night, everyone.